is the greatest joy?
The joy of beauty!
Louder!
The joy of beauty!
History is made at night. Character is what you are in the dark. We must work while the clock she's ticking. We hide, they seek.
Jump to the black of the clock!
Where are we going?
When? Real soon!
Let's go, well, chicken. Alright, I'm Jen Special, and today I'll be reading from my book, Bastards. It is my first book, but hopefully not the last. It's a collection of short stories and poems. There's 23 different pieces in it, and it's pretty good, I think. So, I've been selling it on the street here in Missoula for the past month and a half, because I've been stuck here. Sold about 200 copies on the street here in Missoula. It's also available now at a fact and fiction bookstore on Main Street, Hastings, yeah, good one, yeah, totally, and the Dragon's Den. And it might be available at some other places, but I'm not sure where yet. Drop some copies off and they're going to check them out. But it's not available at the Book Exchange in Trampers Shopping Center. They didn't want it. Or Earth Spirit Books. They didn't want it either. Alright, yeah, so, okay, ask me some questions. That'll make things easier, like, rather than just plugging myself.
Why is it titled Bastard? I personally already know the reason why, but why did you title it Bastards? And is this your first printed collection?
My first what?
Printed collection of stories.
It is my first printed collection of short stories and poems. Like I said, hopefully it won't be the last. Why did I call it Bastards? I'll give you a bit of the longer version of it. I'm busy. She smells like this perfume that I had in the 8th grade. Verbe, before you play. Alright, yeah. Okay, originally it was going to be called Rats, but I decided to make it more blatant. The whole idea of calling it Bastards was that this book is really about people and places. People, for the most part, but the places are pretty much paramount to the book. My whole idea was kind of to... how do I say it? For the reader to decide whether the people are bastards or not. Because either everybody in here is bastards or nobody in here is bastards. And for the most part, it was to take, like, what this book talks about is a lot of, like, undesirables, homeless people, gay people, etc., etc. As far as society is concerned, like, these are people who just should be swept under the carpet or ignored or not looked at, or just taken care of in the privacy of their own homes or whatever, And so, by average Joe standards, a lot of these characters would be just bastards, just blemishes on society, etc. But then there's a lot of stories in here where you take suburban people, your normal, everyday, average Joe himself, and what makes the difference between a homeless guy on the street and Joe Schmo, doing his thing. And so that was my goal, It's a little marketing technique too. Bastards, like, wow. It's so funny because everybody thinks it's this man-hating manifesto, like the
I didn't believe that at all when I read it.
When you read it, you realize it's not, but people will see me being a, like, punk rock female, and they'll be like, oh, this is all just disembodied spewing about men, and I hate men, and da-da-da, and this must be some sort of lesbian avenger. Sometimes I am. But, nevertheless, like, they put it in bookstores next to Susie Bright.
I met Susie Bright when she was in town here a couple months ago. Wow, I was
a couple nights ago?
Months ago.
Oh, alright. I was going to say, how did I miss that?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Very amazing person.
Yeah, she's awesome. Yeah, totally. Yeah, they put my book at Epicenter in San Francisco, like, on the shelf with Susie Bright and the Skull Manifesto and Daniel Willis' stuff and other things like that, And it's funny, it's really flattering, for it to be there, but it was, like, inappropriately placed, So, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to see my agenda isn't first and foremost feminism by any means, you know. But I suppose you can't necessarily say that, like being me as a writer. So anyway, just to clarify that. Alright. Any other questions?
You said something about being in a movie?
Yeah, that was Kids in the Hall. Brain Candy. Yeah. I'm an extra doing all the scenes with that horrible grunge rock band, Grebo. I'm in there. See, I used to have really long dreads, so you can't quite tell it's me, like, unless you know my face, you know? But I'm in there, basically my whole part was to go, yeah! A bunch of times. I did that. Yeah.
Put it back behind you a little bit more.
Alright.
Oh, not that part, just stay.
It'll fall. There we go.
Okay.
Oh, we're kind of this sunken boat kind of image that we're conjuring up.
That's where we're located on, actually. A sunken sea galley.
Yeah. Oh, we're at Bojangles Coffee Shop.
Thank you for
Plugging for Harley. Oh yeah, okay, I'll tell you a little bit more about myself, just to legitimatize myself a little bit as far as academia is concerned. I did go to college, and I have a BA in literature, creative writing from UC Santa Cruz, that's University of California. Yeah, so, you know, I did that, and it was pretty fun. Like, I would have chosen to live somewhere other than Santa Cruz had I realized how high the rent was. I had a really weird experience, like, in college, because a lot of the time that I was there, I didn't have a house. So that was really odd, like, carrying my sleeping bag, my towel, and my crowbar to class, and then, like, sleeping under porches and in parking lots with, like, my computer discs and my alarm clock and shit like that, you know? But I got through it, I did it, and always during the summer, I started college when I was 16, and now I'm 21. So every summer since I graduated high school, I've been traveling. And then my last year in college, my 5th year, was on the extended plan. Then I took winter quarter off and lived in New Orleans, etc., etc. So, you know, I've done my fair share of traveling and being homeless and then being a college student and stuff like that. So I am coming from a perspective where I didn't make all of this stuff up. Because I'm not going to tell you what parts I made up and what parts I didn't. My greatest discovery in fiction was realizing I could lie. I was like, yeah, now all the doors have been opened for me.
The ultimate battle is coming to your television screen. The classic confrontation between two sides. The battle that has been going on throughout history. The battle between good versus evil. Never before have these two opposing sides attacked each other this way. Never before have you seen these two enemies run and grind their way to the winner's circle. Who will win the quintessential head-to-head ultimate battle of the decade? Watch its good and evil battle for supremacy in the arena of life. Blood, sweat, and tears will be shed as these two forces clash in games of skill, endurance, brain, luck, and pure bone-crushing power. The ultimate battle of the century is only on television.
With special color commentary by Jesus Christ.
You know, Frank, I myself have faced evil many times.
And a special Marv Albert's YT Sports bloopers!
Never before have these two battles for the ultimate supremacy of all time and a new car! This is it! The ultimate battle of the millennium!
The ultimate battle of the millennium is a pay-per-view sporting event in no way claims to be Armageddon or any part thereof. Any reference to or any similarities therefore are purely coincidental. Check your local listings for time and channel.
And I don't think our opinions about Tokyo Kosher would be any more interesting than any of your viewers.
Yeah. But we can talk about ourselves.
Well, it's going to be just like USA Today News. It's going to sound bit all of it. It'll be like maybe 30 seconds. It'll be quick. Wah, 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 using cheap, trendy music.
Let's say...
And there'll be dancing girls just swirling around the clips.
Let's say, like, oh, wasn't that a gay evening? And then like a few paragraphs later say, well, I am in a good mood, and then you can splice together, I am gay. Get that.
I'll publish horrible lies about all of you. Yes.
Which I'm not, but who knows? What do I know?
I would like to think that most lesbianism doesn't come out of a animosity towards males. That would be almost pointless.
Well, how are we to discuss this anyway? We're not women.
Well, I'm just saying it would be, it would be better if it just came from a positive place than a negative place.
Yes.
It actually satisfied you and made you happy. That's why you do it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not straight because I hate males.
I am. Well, I don't know. That sounded good at the time.
I mean, I don't have much use for males, but that's not why I'm straight.
Well, thanks, John. We've been in the car together pretty consistently.
We still haven't had sex. Probably won't.
So it'll be like a bad road trip movie where there'll just be that moment on a rainy night and all the tires are flat. And
my own private Idaho, right?
Yep.
I love you, man. I thought he was funny. That guy's dead now, isn't he? Oh, jeez. Drugs. Let's talk about drugs.
Just because somebody's dead doesn't mean it's not funny.
Well, that's out of context.
Then go out and fuck things up while women try to preserve them. Theories that say that when the world, or when human society needed more change, patriarchy developed because patriarchy tends to encourage change, and that now there is too much change, and therefore matrilineal culture might be indicated.
Might be on a comeback, is that what you're saying?
Well, it might be necessary for survival of the
I don't know.
race.
Too much to think about, man.
That's
I just want to take some more heroin. I like women alright, except the ones I go out with.
Why's that?
I don't know. That's when people say that I have that bitter songs,
It's like that Groucho Marx thing. He refuses to go out with any woman who looks like Groucho Marx.
Yeah.
You are picky, aren't you?
No, well, it's just like, I got these songs that are, well, people tend to like them because they're pretty funny, but they're real bitter funny. And people say, well, a few people have suggested that I hate women, and I go, no, it's just the ones I have sex with. I love women, I think. I love people, uplift people.
Anyway, okay, here's your poem, hand-me-downs, the one that you went through. We're going to do that. Every so often, a box would arrive, parcel post from Boston, Massachusetts, with pounds of clothes from Cousin Tina. I like the blue bell-bottoms and tan crochet sweater worn first through 4th grade. We never shopped at Mervyn's. I thought I was so original. The other kids had nothing like my striped goldenrod turtleneck. They laughed at it because it meant I was poor. That's true. That's an autobiographical one.
what is America? You know, is America freedom and democracy? Is America without Exxon and all those multinational corporation evil trade agreement rapes the third world stuff? Well, I guess it's all that, isn't it? And so Christianity not only is the ideal, but it's what it really is.
I can't remember if it was Alexander Hamilton or John Adams, but they used to have these big arguments in the 17th, during the constitutional conventions about who should actually run the country, the people that own it or the people. And I mean, that was and that argument still goes on today. I mean, a lot of people in politics believe that the people that own the country should run it, and other people pretend not to believe that. I mean, it sort of makes sense on paper. If you own your house, it's up to you what, how you paint the walls and stuff.
Yeah.
And so, by extension, if you're Bill Gates or, the president of Exxon or whatever, you should be able to do what you want.
That's why I'm not political, because I don't care. That's their country. Let them flush it down the toilet. Save the planet. Planet doesn't care. It's all the people are going to die. Ha 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 ha. Karma, karma, karma.
You're both big X-Files Marvel fans?
I don't like hero cop shows.
What's their FBI?
Dude, they're cops.
They're not cops.
The FBI aren't cops.
Well, they're more like...
They're not on the TV show. They're further happy.
They're more like private investigators.
It's still a hero cop show. It's still glorifying cops and law and order. They pull guns all the time. I like the X-Files, alright. I'll be watching it, really enjoying it, it's so sexy and all that. And then they pull a damn badge and then just buzzkill. And then another 10 minutes later I'm starting to enjoy it again, and then they pull a gun and a badge, I'm sorry, they're cops.
They're faking IDs,
Very enjoyable hero cop show, admittedly. Yeah.
Roger's a little bit, anti-cop.
Yes. And with certain songs that we've...
Anti-hero cop show and television spectacle sort of thing. We have Billy Syndrome, a comrade of ours, or a co-scenester. He's the one that used to go around saying, no more, if there weren't any more hero cop shows on TV, everything would be better. And so that's where I borrowed the expression hero cop shows. I started to realize how many TV shows were just hero cop shows.
Well, all the Star Trek shows. They're all cops.
Federation.
Sure.
Well, see, that show annoys me because of that. The Federation's always getting in the way of things.
Are they? I don't know. I never watched.
That's because it's a cop show. That's what cops do.
I only watch Melrose Place. Yeah, let all the people who got busted for marijuana out of jail immediately.
So they can buy more products? That's the thing about jail is,
it's free.
You can't buy products.
No, jail is completely part of the whole thing. It's like, now prison labor is just, don't educate people. Don't let them, whatever, don't give them a way to be self-sufficient without breaking the quote-unquote law. Throw them in jail and then get them to work cheap labor and all that.
Chain gangs.
No, man. What do they make in prison now? They make fashionable clothes in jail now. They make
Kathy Lee.
Yeah, all
I
kinds
think
of
they
stuff.
made these shoes in jail, actually.
Probably. And in fact, when I was reading Emma Goldman's autobiography, in the turn of the century, they had what they called prison labels. Like all these clothes that were actually made in prison, and they showed all the labels that, if you knew what you were looking for, you could figure out what it made where. They're making computers and stuff in there, and all kinds of stuff. It's like, just get all these scum underling people and throw them in jail and work for cheap.
If you paid those guys $1 an hour, by the time they got out of jail, they'd be rich.
Yeah.
A lot of them,
That's not what happens.
Yeah, they could do that. That would be a good program.
Well, they get paid, but then their pay gets shuffled off to the state. It's a real cool scam, actually. The state's making money off the prison labor, and then the prisoner's salary goes at least part to the state.
And yet these prisons still aren't making money. It's appalling. I think we should privatize the prison industry.
They are privatized, that's what I'm trying
They
to
are?
say. Well,
No, they're not.
in reality,
Like
yeah.
federal government.
Exactly.
Well, that's not privatizing. That's
The people that own the country own the federal government.
Oh well, by that by that definition, then everything is privatized.
Precisely.
Well, then the word has no meaning.
Of course, it's this Orwellian doublespeak thing, which is so
Well,
true.
That's not what we mean when we use the word privatize. We mean have Bill Gates run the prisons, which he doesn't.
How do you know?
Not yet. But
There's all kinds of private
probably
prison
would do
industry.
a fine job and make a lot of money.
There's private,
And then other people would want it.
people are making billions of dollars off making them prisons. So I mean, you know, it's happening.
Who is?
I don't know who they are. I'm a
They,
by the way.
oh, the they people.
I'm a theist. There is a they.
The people making
And
money
they
off the
suck.
prisons are the people that have the money.
The men in
from the
black,
federal
the
government
men in
put into
gray.
their pockets. You know, that's the only people making money off of prison. The only money they make is tax money. They don't really make money from the stuff. that
They
the
make
prisons
money from building the prison. They make money from supplying
That's
certain
yeah, that's all
the
tax
laundry
money.
service.
That's what I'm talking about. That's tax money.
Genetic
Well,
research.
It's just like that's the whole.
They're not making it. They're just taking it.
Well, yeah.
They're actually producing
Well,
anything.
well, however you want to put it, is like the military-industrial
Well, what I'm
complex.
saying though is that if you
The government
privatize
exists
it,
to pay them money.
if you privatized it and didn't pay for the prisons with taxes, they'd have to make their own money.
It's
They're
the same.
freeloaders,
It's the
that's
same
what I'm
money.
saying.
It's the same money.
The prison
John.
state is a welfare state, and I
Oh,
want to end
absolutely,
it.
absolutely.
That's what I'm saying.
The whole corporate tying the alleged government as a welfare state.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And
And that's why and the reason that the other welfare for the poor people gets cut so that the bigger welfare state will have this free labor.
and what about those rainforests? Damn it!
What rainforest?
And you know those endangered koala
There's
bears.
rainforest? Where?
What about colonizing the moon?
That's it. I don't care as long as we get the tour and stuff. And
You want to play the moon? They should colonize the moon, and we can play there. That'd be cool.
I doubt it. I can't even get us a gig in Salt Lake.
You can't?
Well, what do you think? You think the Mormons would all go to the moon if they colonized it? You'd be okay. On the moon, I think. I think they should colonize the moon and we could play there.
Sure.
Just like
Well, they're working on
the
Mars.
moon. Really cool people.
Well,
And we've got space stations.
Or-
the Russian space
or-
like
station.
Montana, okay.
Or like, you know what? We should sell the moon to Microsoft and they could make a big prison there.
Well, you know who'd be first to go, man. Yeah.
Who?
People with big mouths like us. Actually, you don't have big mouths except during your shows. I'm the one with the big mouth. Check again. The Situationist International Anthology, edited by Ken Knab. You can get it in any one of these left-wing bookstores, anarchist bookstores, with good paperback on.
And I would recommend Battleship Earth by L. Ron Hubbard. No, I would not. I never read it.
I don't need anything.
L. Ron Hubbard writes these really thick books. I don't know how anyone reads any of them. They're like 700.
I think
All of his books are 700 pages long.
I think they're just used to make tables so they're straight and
Could be. They should have them of different lengths though then, because you know, you never know how much you're going to need to put under the table, right?
Goodbye, life. Oh, there it is. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. Don't let me stop you. I think you'll find the safety catches on. Oh, eat leg, you man-stealing slut!
Personally, I'm a mouth guy, you know. I like, you know, and it's like, she gives great mouth in that movie. You know, especially when she's doing those monologues, and she's like, God, I've never seen anything so, a mouth so flirtatious as that. Seductive. But then, these confessions are embarrassing.
There was another one too. I forgot all my lines on stage.
Oh, what was it? What play was it?
It wasn't a play. It was just a monologue. Forgot them all. Completely fucking forgot them all. It was not good. And the entire theater department was not rooting for me. But yeah, there was two people who always got the lead. It would be me or Marcia Di Malanta. And Marcia Di Malanta was a fucking great singer, like excellent gospel singer, and she could dance too. But she was a really bad actress. And like I wasn't so hot on the singing portion, you know. I could belt out shit, but like on the wrong notes. But I was a pretty good actress at the time, you know, if I really tried. And I usually ended up getting the leads, stuff like that. And they hated it. The whole fucking theater department was totally rooting against me. Especially when I got the lead in Gypsy, you know, Mama Rose, and everybody thought it was gonna be her. They were all surprised, and then all this fucked up shit happened. Anyway, I quit the entire department. Like I was just like, fuck you guys, I'm out of here, goodbye. You know, so I left. And then when I finally did like come back in and make peace, you know, I forgot all my lines. Not a good moment there. My nose blew. Like great. Yeah, I still got it.
Look at this place. Don't you have any pride? It looks like a damn pigsty.
Not my goddamn planet. Understand, monkey boy? Let's get out of here, John O'Connor.
But John Watson said we could kill her.
Damn John Watson! He will be gone!
Well, I can't really say anything about this book, having not.
No, exactly, and I'm just quickly showing it.
It looks very nice. I don't think you should do that. I think that would, again, feed into this whole thing of, like, people sitting there watching the television, watching someone else read it, when they should go out and get it themselves.
Not the girl. Alright. Afterwards, I'll tell you why I wrote this. Okay. But I don't want to give away the plot. It's sort of a suspense story. Actually, you don't realize how suspenseful it is. It's in the fucking end. Alright, anyway, not the girl. Steam hissed, and the killer lifted his head from the sawdust. As he sat up and realized the train had stopped, curly-hued chips fluttered from his ruffled hair. After 43 hours in a boxcar, with nothing but 3 cans of Vienna wieners he stole in Albuquerque, and 17 crates of poorly stacked sawdust, he was glad to see the faint orange light of the Hoboken freight yard stream under the rickety metal loading door. He picked sleep from olive green eyes, whispering, "Christ almighty, I made it," and felt his inside pocket to make sure the last can of wieners was still there. His boots crunched in the gravel when he jumped off the chipped, rusting train. He stared between cars at the east fence, overloaded with unruly creeper brambles like furry spider legs against the pinkish black sky, and wished it wasn't dark. After plopping into tufts of yellowed weeds against the west fence, he peeled the lid halfway off the last can. Tomorrow. Fuck. New York. He sighed and wondered how he'd get across the Hudson. He He imagined walking on a narrow section of raised granite sidewalk where snowdrifts pile up in the winter, ice gritty black from car exhaust, next to a guardrail protecting him from being knocked into the river by a speeding graffiti delivery truck. He chuckled, shoving a miniature hot dog past his thin, toothy lips as he saw himself hurl toward the olive green muck, arms flailing, coat billowing over his legs. The salty hot dog filled with tomato molasses sauce made him thirsty. Then he envisioned three mobsters in silk suits pointing slick ivory-handled pistols at his head. "Jump or you're a dead man," he thought they might say. Then he saw his bag speed off on a maroon caboose outside of Fontana 4 days ago. How he'd looked down at the dirty blonde sand creeping under his boots and could do nothing but jump up and down frustrated and kick into the hot still air screaming, "Fuck! Fuck! Fucking Christ! Fuck!" He tossed the empty wiener can high over his shoulders so it would clear the fence and switched into the dry grass behind him, and he stretched his legs to curl against the clinking barbed wire. When he awoke, it was 8ish, he thought, but closer to 10. During his sleep, he had wrapped one of his arms underneath the fence and clutched the rounded metal. His face was burrowed into bent, matted weeds. He'd been dreaming about a redhead in a black mini dress with buckles along the back who scratched his cheeks gently with long gold fingernails. "I've been snuggling with a fence," he muttered, shaking his head, and stood up to pick foxtails off his coat. It was 75 degrees with a light salt breeze, and the railroad gravel sparkled in the sun. The train had rumbled away during the night. He was surprised he'd slept through it, but after 6 days he'd become accustomed to hissing sirens, rattling metal, and loud rhythmic chugging. As he walked along the east fence toward where the brambles tapered off, a light gray dust accumulated on his scuffed boots. He squinted. There was something bright blue hidden in the bushes. Someone had clipped a hole in the fence above a blue cue case. It had to be recent, he guessed, because the cut barbed edges glinted and rusted like dimes. "Weird," he remarked as he knelt down and lifted it from feathers of underbrush. It was still in good shape. He hoped if there was a pool stick in there, it would be okay too, so he could hit up a pawn shop when he got into the city. He scooped it up, popped off the lid, and peered into the blue circle. His eyes widened and he snapped the case away from his head. "Holy shit!" he exclaimed and reached into the case with greedy, eager fingers like a horny teenage boy. The gun lay barreled down in the cue case, like a sleeping dog. He pushed his slim, dirty hand around the light brown grip and yanked it out. "It's a fucking sawed-off shotgun," he yelled. "Holy shit! Holy fucking yeah!" In the shadows at the bottom of the blue cylinder, a $100 bill sprawled, curling around the edges. The gun had made an imprint on the bill's belly. "Sweet!" he screamed and remembered a bastardized version of "This Land Is Your Land" he sang in the playground when he was little. "This land ain't your land, it's only my land. From California to the New York Islands, I got a shotgun and you ain't got one. I'll blow your head off if you don't get off." It was strange to think of New York as islands. The streets of Greenwich were crowded with tangled jumbles of wires and clotheslines, bricks washed over in black film, sandstone gray with flower box windows, sleazy jazz coffee, and white plastic chairs chained to their tables in the sun after 6 months stacked in a storeroom closet with nothing but paper towels and cockroaches. Crisp gelled haircuts step up to Victorian doorways blaring New Wave, advertising rave clothes with ink tag theft protection. Nylon legs and rock salt gutters, she wears a brown baby doll skirt that flutters as the purse swishes over her ass. Cigarettes, he thought. The killer strutted down the gritty sidewalk, and his coat billowed past sooty blue jean knees. He couldn't get the ridiculous phrase, "looking down the barrel of a gun," out of his head until he convinced himself that he woke up with the shotgun pointed at his face. He saw it in the cue case, rising pumped cock trigger out of the blue circle, metal rim and black barrel eye 4 inches away from his face and getting closer. On the Avenue of the Americas, there's a slick steel erection with a revolving door. Business suits pump the rubber. It slides along bulletproof plexiglass and deposits them before a mahogany podium desk with a bastard in a crisp white button-down with a carnation lurking in his pocket and a blunt pomade hairdo smiling a mouthful of immaculate glistening teeth. The killer stood on the shaded blue-gray sidewalk in a gray coat reeking of soot with unwashed oily dark brown hair and faded grimy jeans. He sneered, "I should shoot that bastard." He wagged his head. "Holy Jesus. I've got a sawed-off shotgun." The words "highly illegal" ran through his head in bold print. A sawed-off shotgun is not for hunting. He wondered if it was loaded with buckshot or solid lead buckshot sprays. He wanted to slide it out of the inside pocket, pump it, and pull the trigger. Explosion, sulfur smell, astonished faces plastered backseat windows would point frantically as cars speed southbound. Pedestrians scream and scamper like pond ripples, heels rip rayon and silk. I wonder if there's an Indian food place around here. He settled on an Israeli place near Madison Square Gardens. The food was stale and oily, but better than canned hot dogs. The last time he'd eaten a meal was Tucson, Arizona. He stared out the restaurant window to the Doubletree Hotel at a valet in a green fez assisting a man in boat shoes and Ray-Ban sunglasses. Wouldn't it be funny, he thought, if I shot him? The valet's shoulders sunk toward the sidewalk as he gripped the maroon leather handle, and the man stood bolt upright with his fist digging into his belt. Look at that guy. Dude, you're twice as big as the valet, and you're gonna let him, oh sure, give him a fuck, that ought to cover it. What a fucking jerk, the killer mumbled as the man disappeared through glass-level doors. The killer wandered up to Times Square in the shadows of skyscrapers 6 p.m. April against cloudless robin's egg blue, and, bombarded with flashing pink all-nude signs, he remembered chaser-like calamity, party horns, and furry winter coats on New Year's TV. He had begged, please, Mommy, let me stay up just until the bomb drops. He sat on a garbage can to stare at a hooker in a plastic miniskirt and a fluffy bleach blonde wig propped against a water-stained brick wall by her elbows. He wanted to shoot her and felt ashamed. As an old Romanian stepped out of Port Authority, clutching a battered beige suitcase and a Greyhound ticket, 3 teenagers in shivering sweatsuits backed him against the sunlit golden doors. The killer sat up and squinted, and noticed the tall one had a knife. Oh, fuck. I should shoot him. I really should shoot him. He reached for his gun inside his jacket and gripped the handle. The man's eyes turned filmy and bright blue as he screamed in Romanian. Okay. The killer stood up. I'm gonna shoot him. His hand shook as he began to slide the gun out of his pocket. I'll cross the street, and I'll point my gun at them, and I'll say, you want to make this difficult? And they'll run. But by the time he had crossed the street, the muggers had bolted, and the killer stood pointing his shotgun at a Romanian with tears streaming down his face slumped against scratched plastic doors. The killer stepped back and ran off. The night rose in slithering garden snakes of telephone wires and blinking neon signs. Taxicabs zip weave over rubbery black streets gleaming under the fluorescent red and green glow of traffic lights and brakes. The blaring honk of a slick melting Suzuki echoes over the low constant mumble of subway trains and winos incubating on stray milk crates. Chinos and haircuts spew from overpriced red and white burger joints with sodas to go and tit-popping lipstick girlfriends. He thumped against a thick wooden door that said no one under 21 admitted. Odeta's Irish pub was poorly lit with a rickety ceiling fan and scratched plastic pool tables. A gold banister wound around the waxy darkwood bar. The killer slinked onto a stool and ordered Guinness Extra Stout and a shot of wild turkey. And here's an asterisk that means time has gone by. I realize that, you know. I didn't write that out. Sauntering inward, he maneuvered his head like an overstuffed Chinese dragon, attempting to focus on a blurred sign behind multicolored De Cooper bottles. He realized it had said, Guinness is good for you, and wished he had kept drinking that instead of wild turkey. The room bobbed with laughter and twinkling lighters. He had no idea where he was going to sleep, and at this point it didn't matter because a gun is for protection, he thought. From the corner of his eye, a woman's curly red hair flooded over her freckled shoulders. He eavesdropped as she babbled into a cigarette. He didn't have any rubbers, and I says, Westside Liquors is on the corner, go get some. And he says, what, you're not on the pill? So I says, look, I can't stand the thing. Turns me into a world-class bitch, right? Took it, 1987, and got my period for 3 months straight. That says no more. They ought to make birth control pills for men. I mean, think about it. It makes more sense to take the bullets out of the gun than to wear a bulletproof vest, right? She slammed her cigarette into the ashtray, smashed and swished it a few times, and then yelled, Jesus Christ! I almost caught my nail on fire. Take the bullets out of the gun. The words stumbled over each other in his head. Wild turkey, too much fears, bullets, gun, shoot, fuck. He got up to piss and was barred by a man with red putty nose and huge pores that reeked of whiskey and beer nuts. The man banged his fat fist into the killer's shoulder, and pounding dull warmth spread across his bicep. He was 6'3", close to 300 pounds, and thin, dull wisps of hair wandered across his shiny scalp. He yelled into the killer's face, "Who's saying fucking Somebody's gonna hurt someone!" and banged his fist against the bar for a drumbeat. "For the night is through!" The bartender turned and pointed, "Hey, big boy, cut the shit." The guy flipped his thumb out from behind his teeth and slurred, "That's Italian for how you doing?" He lost his footing mid-sentence and grabbed the bar edge, laughing raspy. "So who sang it?" When he scrunched his eyes, his fat cheeks bulged out. He swirled his neck at the killer and asked, "Were you a girl once?" The killer wrinkled his nose at the man, and the man threw up his meaty hands. "You look kind of like a girl," he remarked as the killer tried to slip around his right. The man grabbed him by the shoulder and demanded, "Who sang it?" Thin Lizzy. "No, what's it? It's the fucking Eagles." "It's Thin Lizzy, I'm positive." "What the fuck is it, Thin Lizzy?" He growled. "Thin Lizzy, baby, I'd like to fuck her," he thundered, coughing and laughing. His fingers looked like freckled sausages as his fist vaulted into the killer's face. Asterisk. The killer awoke to the chilled peach-pink glow of dawn in a pile of crumpled newspapers next to an overflowing navy blue dumpster. His teeth were fuzzy and his mouth tasted like ass. A pudding-colored cat licked its paw slowly near his fuming, sweaty head. He stared across the alley at a brick building with gray water stains and wondered what it was. The sun hit the building at an angle. It was still cold in the shade. He smelled hot hash browns and thought he might vomit. He ducked into a diner with red Naugahyde seats and waitresses with 50-style hair buns and ordered Old Faithful, the best cure for a hangover, scrambled eggs, white toast, black coffee, and Tabasco sauce. A waitress in a pale turquoise uniform brought his coffee while he was thumbing through miniature jukebox selections. Elvis, the Coasters, Charlie Brown, Yakety Yak. The mug was greasy and his coffee tasted like dirt on fire. He shot into his stomach and gurgled before he plowed toward the restroom. On a crusty ceramic floor, hunched over a toilet that stank like layers of sticky piss, the killer remembered dropping shells onto the floor in a phone booth-sized bathroom. Each time his stomach clenched, he saw the fat fish smash his nose. Did I pick him up, he thought, before a burst reeking of stomach acid, wild turkey, and rancid dolmas hurled into the toilet bowl. He remembered aiming his shotgun at a streetlight in an alleyway. He pulled the side barrel to pump it. Did I? Oh, God. There was nothing like the sound of vomit. I was aiming at the streetlight. I was playing around. Gold shells splattered to the bathroom floor, or was it the alley? She said take the bullets out of the gun. He remembered that, but he distinctly remembered pumping the shotgun up near his face and a blurred fuzzy orange streetlight. The shells sprung out as a fist slammed into his face. No. He vomited again, an echoing musical splatter into the floating reddish toilet water. Did I shoot him? Oh God, did I shoot him? The killer paid for his coffee and left to peruse the Sunday morning streets somewhere near 55th, past newsstands and pear vendors trying to look inconspicuous. First slow, but in New York, everybody moving slow looks conspicuous, so he walked faster, thinking if a cop sees me, he will know what I did because I'm walking too damn fast. I shot something, but was it him? He jolted into an alley and hid in the side door of the filthy brick building advertising ironworks with smeared black paint and examined the gun. The shells were all gone, and he wished it wasn't New York, because anywhere else, if he had shot somebody, you might see his picture in the paper, but here it could easily have been him, and no one ever would have known. The killer peeked out from behind the alley and, wanting to hide the gun, his eyes gleamed like satellites at dumpsters, manholes, flower pots, cats. Did he hit on that girl? Did I hit on that girl? I would never have shot someone in a bar fight. God damn this goddamn thing! The sidewalk twinkled in the glowing sunshine. People were beginning to wake up and stretch in sheer curtain windows toward the periwinkle cloudless sky while fruit vendors trundled past. I lost the shells on the bathroom floor, but that's not possible because I remember shooting at the streetlight. The man's deep blue eyes bulged in instantaneous painfulness. He was laughing at me. That's why he looked like that. Or right before he punched me. Not in the alley. Not in the alley. He was not in the alley. The alley, bricks, moonlit chain-link fence with rings of barbed wire in the shadows of granite under the streetlight, shells banged on the asphalt. He was not there. I was drunk. Damn it, I cannot check 8 billion alleyways for bloodstains and used gold shells. He remembered arriving in Hoboken and excited, discovering the gun after the dream. What happened after he punched me? The killer stood in the sunshine and the red bricks glared like the man's porous face. He went limp against the wall, and his stomach leapt into his head like a skyscraper elevator. The streetlight had been fuzzy like the girl's red hair. His face crumpled in the beaming sun. Not the girl. Oh, God, not the girl. He began to cry as billions of people sped past. That's the end of the story.
Radio people, magazine journalists, and so on and so forth. Most of them want to know what you want to say. But I say what I want to say in my work, and other than that, if I want to say something, I'll write it down. I mean, that's the way I am, and I don't really have an agenda outside of that. The one exception was when I was touring for the Salvation record, and the Gulf War was happening, and I would blab on incessantly about that to a journalist, but they never printed anything I said. So, mostly, I have opinions about things, but I don't necessarily want to blab them off because, I'm kind of stubborn about that, My feeling is that I don't have an agenda, and therefore, it's the other person's show. That's the way I look at it. My show is when I write my stuff, and when I do this, it's somebody else's show. Or, for example, right here, right now, it's your show.
It's Planet 10, yes.
I don't have that problem. I mean, I'm not famous enough so that I'm inundated and bombarded. You know, I'm listed in the phone book, but I don't get a bunch of calls from people bothering me with like stupid shit.
And you haven't been stalked?
I've been stalked once, but it was manageable.
Good.
You know, it caused me to alter my lifestyle a little bit for about a year, but I mean, it wasn't so bad. I mean, I don't think it pays to be secretive. You know, I mean, if they want to shoot you, they'll shoot you. The fact that it was easy for Mark David Chapman to shoot John Lennon,
right.
I don't think enters into it. I think he would have done it anyway, you know, if it had been trickier. It was just something he wanted to do. Where the idea for Detachable probably came from first, but, you know, it wasn't a direct reference in any way. It was just like, when I saw the end of that movie, I think I stored that image in my mind for, you know, many, many years, and it came out again in the Detachable Penis film. Around the center.
Rent it. Should be somewhere in this.
Well, I think most writers put elements of themselves in what they write. Yeah, I mean, you know, at times I feel like the superior, like the sensitive artist guy, and at times I feel pathetic, like the wuss guy, and at times I feel gluttonous, like the cheesecake truck guy. I wouldn't necessarily say that any of those people are me. They're just aspects of the id, or the ego, which is it? I forget. You could look it up.
And
the id. Aspects of the id.
The creature from the Forbidden Planet.
From Planet 10.
Totally. Well, he either shot the girl. That's kind of what the story would lead up to. He shot the girl, or he might have shot the man, or he might have shot the shotgun at nothing, or he might have shot someone totally different, you know? I personally, I'll go ahead and do it. Like,
okay.
I don't think he shot anyone else.
Yeah.
I think he's too interested. Wait, what are you looking for?
Oh,
that way. Somebody's in there right now. I think he wants to do something, anything important. And that's, and I mean, he has all these elaborate fantasies, you know, of like being knocked into the Hudson River and being ordered by mobsters to dive into the Hudson River and being with girls and et cetera, et cetera. And like, he wants to do fucking anything, something, anything, you know? And that's pretty much the only important thing he can think he can do, you know, is to do something like that. It's probably a bad idea for this particular person to have the gun. You know?
Exactly.
Because he's the type of person that might fly up ahead and go ahead and do it. I think he fantasizes that he can't control his imagination.
It's kind of an anti-Walter Mitty.
Yeah, totally. Like, here comes the fucking secret lives, like, taking over, you know? And the whole thing is, but he has no life other than that, you know? Like, we don't see any of his past except, please, Mommy, let me stay up just until the bomb drops.
Exactly. See, that I thought was really, that seemed to be beautiful. I saw that. Mm-hmm. And how you refer to him always as the killer.
Yeah.
I love that.
Oh, yeah. How did I come up with the idea for the story?
Yes.
Okay.
Come in this way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The idea, okay. Well, one of them was, it's my friend Christoph, the guy who worked at the law firm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he worked at a law firm, but he had a wig that he wore because he had 3 green spikes in the front, and he used to have to wear a wig over the green spikes in order to work in his law firm. Anyway, Christoph once did find a sawed-off shotgun in a bag in the Oakland freight yard, or at least that's what he says. I don't know. I wouldn't doubt it. Like, you know, he was a pretty nutty guy. Like, he used to go drive his car to restaurants in like nice areas, you know, slam his car into like 3 or 4 parked cars, and then like not even drive off, park, and then get out, eat, and then get back into his car and then drive away. So I mean, he was a fucking nut, like he was crazy. Anyway, so he found this sawed-off shotgun, and he was wondering, like, you know, it's probably some kind of like mafia drop-off or something like that is what he was thinking, you know, because who the fuck puts a sawed-off shotgun in a freight yard, you know?
Right. Well,
Anyway.
it's dropping evidence, so it doesn't exist.
Yeah, exactly, totally. Hang on. I'm just gonna shut the door so we don't get interrupted by karaoke. Yeah, karaoke. Anyway, the other reason was I got really tanked one night, and I woke up in bed with my roommate, and I had no idea like if anything happened or what happened or anything like that. You
Is it
know?
rolling?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Here's what I want you to do.
What?
You didn't ask my permission to do this. That's cool. That's fine. You can do it.
I asked at the counter.
I'm the guy.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. That's number one. Number two, this will not interfere with business tonight, so I don't want to hear comments like you were not interrupted by karaoke or anything. That's what makes the money here.
Yeah.
Okay? So that's, I heard that and I'm kind of like, if you want to come through here, everything's cool, they can do whatever the fuck they want. If they want to do backflips right there, they're welcome.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, totally. Well, we said, we were filming it from inside before, in the chairs, and we said, like, we're at Bojangles, da-da-da, coffee, you know,
Well, that's cool.
et cetera, et
But
cetera.
I'm just saying, there is no such thing as an interruption of this thing.
No,
Yeah.
not at all. It's,
Okay?
actually, it's all part of the performance.
Cool.
Okay.
All right? You're all welcome to it.
Okay,
Thanks,
cool.
Harlan.
Thank you.
This has got to stay open by order of the fire marshal.
Okay.
All right. Open door. All right. Well, so anyway, that was how not remembering what had happened. You know, that was how that came about. I had to ask. He's now my roommate. He's now the assistant editor for Hustler. It's not only a dream job; it's his dream job. And I remember I was doing the dishes, and I was like, Smitty, did we fuck? And he was like, no. He was like, what gave you that impression? I'm like, I don't know, the fact that I woke up naked in your bed. He goes, no, I remembered one thing from that night. I remember Smitty had said, are you going to give me head? Because if not, I'm going to sleep. And apparently that was the point at which I passed out, and then nothing happened after that. But yeah, that was one of the ways that I got the idea. That thing about take there ought to be birth control pills for men, that's from a stand-up comedian. I didn't make that up. Yeah. I stole that. And tit-popping lipstick girlfriends, that's Frank Chin's line, actually. I stole that too. But yeah, you can steal a little bit of a line, but not the whole thing. Tit-popping is the particular word that I stole. And that's a word that ought to be stolen. That's a good word. Anyway, yeah, that's a stand-up comedian. But the whole thing, that girl who was in the bar with the red freckled, shoulders and the long red hair, she's the type of person that would like steal lines from a stand-up comedian and use them as her own. Totally like that Hell's Kitchen, like West Side New York sort of deal. Yeah, and then the Thin Lizzy thing, I did that.
Oh, so it actually happened.
Yeah, that's. Oh, dang it!
I thought, yeah, it was like,
That was
wow.
me. Yeah, that was me.
Okay, what about the dialogue about the bullets in the gun? Was that part of the stand-up routine too?
No.
Or
Take the bullets out of the gun. Wild turkey, too much beers. Bullets go to shoot buck. One of my agendas with the story, and I'll go ahead and give it to you, was to make the connection between gun and penis startlingly obvious, if you wanted to find it there. So, bullets, gun, shoot buck. Right. The story kind of explores, I think, impotence and frustration. Just the act of being impotent. This guy is completely fucking impotent. His whole life is just impotent. Or at least what we get out of it. He's going around wanting to do all these things and trying to do all these things and needs some kind of physical catharsis, and he doesn't get it at all. And all he can do is think that he has. So, bullets, gun, shoot, fuck. He wants to. He'd be better off if he just fucked, but instead he has this gun, this phallic symbol, and he's going around with it, and it's becoming a major problem in his life, right? So, yeah, I mean, that was one of the objectives there. So, yeah, okay. You got any more questions about that? My story?
It's a fabulous story.
Okay, thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah, very, a friend of mine who is getting into the more crime noir films and trying to write like it. I'm going to show this to him.
Cool, yeah. I'm not big on crime, like crime as it happens, as it occurs naturally. That I like, but detective stories are kind of weird for me. It just sort of ended up that way. heck. But yeah. So, did he kill anybody? I don't know. You tell me. You know. Sometimes people ask me that question. Did he kill anybody? And I go, I don't remember.